The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101.
Ahoy! Let's go! We're waking up Chicago. Turn up the radio. It's time to start the show. On Q101 with the morning crew. Ahoy! Let's go! Welcome to the morning show.
Let's go. It is 6:02, 59 degrees. Going to be some rain all day today, but at least it's going to be, kind of warm. Not like yesterday was unbelievable.
Oh, it was so pretty.
It was like Jamaica.
I don't know about that, but I was so ready to be in a pool and wasn't.
Yeah, me too.
Does that bum you out?
Well-
we just want to float.
Well, yes, I want to float.
I want to float.
I drive down Lakeshore Drive. I went to pick up Megan from work, and I'm going back down Lakeshore, and I see all these people out there just living the dream. They're out there biking and running and laying and playing in the water. And I'm like, why can't that be me? Why not? I'm going to pick up my wife from work, which I'm very delighted to do.
Whoa, that was snappy.
Listen, she's had a rough go with our kid being sick, and she was like, you don't have to go. I'll take the train. And I go, no, I'll come get you. Don't worry about it. Mother's Day's coming up. I'm going to come get you.
How romantic.
Well, I picked her up from work.
Is that her Mother's Day present?
No, I have some surprises.
What are they?
Well, it's not a surprise if I tell you.
Does she listen?
She does. She listens.
I'm lucky. I feel like my husband doesn't really listen, so I treat this a lot more like a therapy session.
Well, that's great for us. Now, Case, the producer's here as well.
Hi, how we doing?
Case, I got to start with this, dude.
Oh, boy.
I got to start with it. So, coming up at 7:50, first off, at 6:20, we'll have a chance to go see Sum 41 in Paris. But I hurt Case's feelings about it 20 minutes ago, and you can see the video up on our social, on Facebook and Instagram. So we have a great guest coming in today at 7:50, just a listener that dreamed of working at Q101 when he was at Glenbrook South High School. And we're bringing him in to live his dream. So he's going to come in here and do a segment with us, and he's going to play. He's got a band. We're going to play a little of his band. And I said, Case's idea. I'm going to go get some donuts for him. Great. Get a dozen donuts. He goes, do you want anything? He says to me. And I go, I'm, a little bit, my stomach's feeling weird. I don't need a donut, but just, get a dozen. And he goes and gets a dozen. And I open the box. It's 6 glazed and 6 chocolate donuts. That's the dozen.
So your disappointment is there's not enough choices, even though you're not going to eat one.
Well, it's a guest, and it doesn't about me. I'm not having a donut. I think when someone comes in, I've never, Kenzie, seen a box of donuts open and not seen sprinkled, Boston cream, glazed, coffee roll, chocolate, jelly,
yeah.
powdered donut.
Wait a minute, Case, did you just throw in an option? Why the hell?
Yeah,
Why are you now throwing in suggestions?
See, that shows you're smarter than this. That's what's upsetting me about it.
Honestly, Case, you're better than this.
You're better than this.
You're better than this crappy box of donuts.
Yeah, you understand there's jelly.
I understand there's jelly.
Yes.
I didn't want him getting powder all over the studio. I didn't want a donut that was hard to eat. And I thought, you know what everybody likes? Everybody likes a glazed donut. Everybody likes a chocolate donut. I'm going to load up on those. And there's nothing wrong with that.
First off, it's the most racist box of donuts I've ever seen. Because one side is like the white glaze and one side is the chocolate glaze. And
Yep.
it looks like they can't communicate.
You know, on Uber Eats, when they have the box for special instructions, I did not type out to segregate them. That was not something that I did.
It looks like you did.
It's the Rosa Parks of 12 donuts. it's totally segregated.
I'm just offended.
But I've never seen that when and you guys correct me and jump in here at 312-591-8300, how you communicate with us all morning. I've never seen a dozen donuts with just 2 styles in it.
So what should I have done? Should I have gotten 12 different types of donuts?
At least, 7 or 8, and then maybe a duplicate on the glazed. Maybe
You could have doubled. You could have done 6 kinds of donuts and got 2 of each.
Yeah.
That probably would have been 2 glazed, 2 chocolate, 2
Sprinkles? Who doesn't
2
like
jelly,
sprinkles?
2 Boston cream.
Yeah.
Normally I get a Boston cream, but I
What happened to you?
Yeah, clearly you don't. I mean,
Normally you do things right. We don't know what happened to you today.
I've never seen a box of donuts opened like that, and you will experience it if you go to our Instagram and Facebook right now.
It's kind of a lack of experience.
It's weird.
It's like the worst unveiling ever. When you open a box of, when you open a box thing, you're always excited.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
Ooh, what's in here?
Nothing that great.
Yeah. Oh my
So I
gosh.
can't wait to wow our guests, though. It's going to be fun.
We're trying. This is the first step in making his dream come true. Is a segregated box of donuts with 2 styles.
Don't say segregated. That's not fair.
They are. You did that.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
All right, I'm a moron. Text the national keyword order to 95819. I confused y'all by saying
The wrong number.
I said it right the first time, wrong the second time, because we have a lot of stuff going on for different text numbers and different contests right now. We got so much A-level free stuff for you, but I made a mistake, and I apologize to you, which is very rare for me to say on the air. I apologize.
I've never heard you say sorry for anything.
Here's Megan. It's terrible. Okay, so text the national keyword order, ORDER, to 95819. That's how you text it to win the trip for Sum 41 in Paris. Now time for a fact that makes your brain go.
What do you got?
Okay,
I want to be impressed today.
I think you might be.
I want something good.
Okay, here we go. This thing on Earth, meaning it could be a human, an animal, a cicada, has to do it 40 times a day to get its female counterpart pregnant. 40 times a day just to get the baby.
How many days?
Well, if it doesn't, well, I mean, until she is pregnant.
Woof.
It's a lot.
Is it Larsa Pippen?
She did say that her and Scotty did it 4 times a night, I believe.
Yeah, never didn't happen. Everyone's like, it never. She goes, there wasn't a single night in our entire marriage where we didn't have sex at least 3 times a night. And I'm calling bullcrap because they had like 3 kids. So you're telling me.
They had 4, I believe.
Was it 4?
Yeah, I think they had 4.
So you're telling me that you had sex 3 times each night that you gave birth?
For almost 20 years, maybe. I think they were married
But
that
like,
long.
think about like you. So you never had the flu. You never you're the beacon of perfect health. But like after delivering a child that night, you got it on 4 times. Is that what you're telling me?
Even if you take those out, let's say you take out the birthing of the child that was caused by the
She
pregnancy.
said there wasn't a night though. She
Yeah.
died. Everyone's like, well, there had to be a night. She
Yeah.
goes, nope.
But to your point, let's give her a pass on that, the pregnancy part. Let's even give her a couple months after the birth. There's still no way she was doing it every night. You
4
think
times a night.
you think she didn't come home, or Scotty came home and was like, "Damn man, MJ just an a-hole." That's how he talks, is that low ass voice.
That was good. That's a good Pippin.
Yeah, he always in my face. He never passed me the ball.
She's like, man, that son though.
He cute though, isn't he? That son.
He's almost worth putting up with.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
All right, well, it's time for a fact that makes your brain go. So this thing on Earth, whether it's a human, a mammal, a cicada, they have to do it 40 times a day to get their female counterpart pregnant. And we didn't really do any guesses on it. What do you think it might be, Kenzie?
Well, I said Larsa Pippen.
Larsa Pippen, that's
or
right.
Or you, because poor Megan
I'll tell you,
got plowed for like a year.
we call it making love in my household.
Not the way you do it. Like a jackhammer.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Where have you heard that?
You. You're like, well, it doesn't take long. You've made all these comments.
Well, I got things to do. Okay, it's not a frog. It's not Larsa Pippen. It is, of course, the king of the jungle, a lion, up to 40 times a day to get the female counterpart pregnant.
Woof.
I know.
They're not faithful either. They be out here. They got baby mamas on deck.
Is that right?
Yeah, they're not a faithful animal.
Yeah, I don't know much about lions. I did do a little research. So they live till 10 to 14 years in the wild. So that's a lot, by the way. That's 40,000.
Yeah. Boning?
Well, I'm not. Do they do it from like 1 year old, you think?
I don't know.
that
I don't know
weird?
if they lose their virginity at 1. Seems a bit young.
It's interesting. Humans probably wait longer than the average animal.
Well, yeah of course. We go through school and all this stuff. We have other like goals we have to hit. We get shamed. We're the only ones who can talk. We get shamed for being whores if you do it too early.
That's true.
That's right. Lions don't.
No.
You never hear about a whore lion.
No.
No one ever says that lion's a whore.
They're just doing their job.
Do you know how funny it would be on a National Geographic show for them to call a lion a whore?
Oh, that'd be unbelievable.
Could you see like a lion like taking his paw, backhanding like a lioness or something? It's like you whore. You had my baby first.
How dare you?
Baby daddy drama.
For some reason, I think they're like English when they talk.
Why?
How dare you cheat with Marty the
they
lion
live
down
in
the street?
Africa.
I don't know. I just feel like an English accent would be funny on a lion. But
The best was Beyonce's accent on a lion in The Lion King. Because the lion's from Houston.
oh, I didn't hear that. Is it really bad?
Oh my God. I do love Beyonce. Her she's coming out with a rock album, by the way. That would
I've
be
heard
exciting.
about it.
And anyways, when she did the live action remake of The Lion King, she was the voice of Nala. And I'm like, wow, she really sounds like she's like Southern still. And it was so funny to me. It was
Let's see.
like this like Louisiana, Houston, dirty South lion.
Unhand me, lion.
That's still, what is that?
You banged 40 times. I'm doing that like Foghorn
You the
Leghorn Southern.
Monopoly guy?
No, I'm doing a Foghorn Leghorn like a Southern accent. Like, unhand me.
That's not the Houston accent, though.
That is not it.
No, it's not Houston.
Dirty South is different.
Yeah, you got to sound like Paul Wall.
Yeah. Do that.
Okay, here's how it goes. Unhand me.
No, you sound like the Monopoly guy.
No, it's like Foghorn Leghorn. He's from like Georgia, I think.
I don't. Who's Foghorn Leghorn?
In Bugs Bunny.
Oh.
He was the big.
Is he the chicken?
He's the huge chicken. Yeah,
Yeah.
rooster, I guess he is.
The rooster.
Yeah. Unhand me.
Okay, stop saying that. Is all you got? Is that the only thing he says in the show? Do you have anything else to say about
He's
it?
go, I said,
How many people
I
grab this
he
thing?
go, I said, hey, lion there. Unhand me. Okay, that's all I can think of for Foghorn Leghorn. Anyway, lions bang 40 times a day, and they only stop to eat. They'll pass out from banging, and then they'll just eat, and then they'll start banging again.
This was you in your 20s, Brian.
For running and gunning days.
Yeah, to himself.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. And boy, did we get some sad news yesterday. We were actually in a Q101 staff meeting yesterday when we found out, in case alerted everybody, that Steve Albini had passed away of a heart attack at the age of 61. Chicago legend in not so much he was a musician, of course, but really what he did, and I hate to use this word because he hated it. He hated the word producer, but that's what he did. He produced Nirvana's In Utero and Pixies and Bush Razorblade Suitcase and The Breeders and PJ Harvey and the Jesus Lizard and even guys like Jimmy Page and Robert Plant he worked with from Led Zeppelin. And really shocking whenever something like this happens. He's just 61 and died of a heart attack.
He's so
It was
young.
so young. And, still was working super hard. In fact, I saw on the amount of bands that I went through and saw put a note about it. The Toadies, of all people.
Oh, yeah.
They put a note out saying they just recorded with him like a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they just got done finishing up what they were doing. The studio was Electrical Audio, is the name of the recording studio. Very unassuming, by the way. It looks like a kind of a burned out garage on Belmont between these beautiful 3 flats. But if you saw the Foo Fighters Sonic Highways documentary, they go into it and it's beautiful. It goes underground.
Oh, that sounds like Batman.
It really is.
That's cool.
He kind of was Chicago's Batman.
That's a really good
Man of the
example.
people.
Yeah, because he figured out that the lower you go, the drums would sound better in these rooms. He was a nutcase. I mean, he was a mad scientist.
like an evil genius. Well, not evil. I guess he was a good guy.
Yeah, he was a good guy.
What's the term I'm looking for?
I think a genius is the term you're looking for.
Maybe it's genius. I don't know why I threw that on there.
But
I guess because of the cave.
Yeah, the eccentricities. Like, he did more than anybody else to get a sound. And he also was known for not doing much once you got that sound. He said, I'm not going to add all this stuff. We're not going to go into Pro Tools and fix things. We're going to it's a live recording. He wanted to make it as live as possible, but also make it sound so unique. And he was a genius. And it's a really big, sad loss for Chicago. So many bands. I saw Gavin Rossdale put it out about Razorblade Suitcase. He talked about when they were together, when he was going through his breakup with Gwen Stefani, he said, why don't you come to Chicago and just hang out? And Steve Albini's wife and really got him through that, he said. Like, he was a mess when him and Gwen Stefani were breaking up.
A little bit his fault.
Not going down that path. Certainly.
Separate conversation.
But Steve Albini was the guy that kind of got him back on his feet and got him recording again.
He maybe should have left him sitting down because he learned his lesson. Because that was pretty mean thing to do.
Certainly a tough stretch.
Gwenny.
You have to accept people and all their faults.
Hard gold.
We've had Gavin in here, and he's a great guy today. And I'm sure he regrets a lot. He's talked about missing Gwen, actually. Like, he knows, he screwed up. But anyway,
That's good.
But not to get on that Gavin conversation, because here was Steve Albini explaining that on Conan's podcast. What's this called again, Case?
This is called Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. So this interview is Conan O'Brien, it's Steve Albini, Dave Grohl, and Chris Novoselic.
Well, that's fun.
It is.
Yeah.
And last year, for the 30th anniversary of Nirvana's In Utero, they sat down in the studio and they had a very long conversation about the creation of this album. And this is Steve Albini's philosophy on, for lack of a better term, producing.
You know, what's amazing is, so the decision is made. We would like Steve Albini to produce this record. And most people...
And I'm going to stop right there for a second. So he's talking about Nirvana had said they want Steve Albini to produce In Utero, the next album.
Yes, because it's important to note real quick before you go back to that audio. So Steve Albini was in a band called Big Black in the 80s. Legendary underground band. Kurt Cobain was at their last show. That's how they met. And this was before Nirvana was anything.
Oh, yeah.
So when they blew up with Nevermind, Kurt, and everybody knows this, felt insecure by their popularity, felt a little insecure by the people that latched onto their band because they weren't there in the beginning.
Yeah.
And nothing would get you more punk credit or underground credit than working with Steve Albini.
And then Conan explains how Steve Albini gave them terms
Yes.
of how he'll do it. He didn't just say, sure, I'll do it. You're Nirvana. You just came off Nevermind and Smells Like Teen Spirit. I'd love to produce
you're
your album.
the biggest band in the world. Any producer would kill for this job.
He's like, hey, you're in my cave.
Yeah.
Something's going on here.
Instead, he almost talked him out of it with his conditions on doing the album.
I think anyone else on the planet in that position would have said, please, 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 please. And you write this letter when you find out that they're interested. And this letter is not a please hire me letter. It's a great letter. But it is a I'll do it, but here are my conditions letter, which is first of all, this is
sounds
a
like that
compliment.
Ethereum thing.
Yeah.
Bit,
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is it is it's a bit of a screed about what you believe. And I will do this if you do it on my terms and if you're willing to do it. And then you shockingly say, I'm not taking points on this record.
So now here's Steve Albini explaining all that situation and what his whole life was really about.
I don't want to do that. You said, I want to be paid like a plumber. Just give me some money up front.
That's going.
You thought it was immoral to get points in the record.
Yeah. I mean, the way that record producers and recording people are compensated at that time in particular was a trick of accounting that shifted the cost away from the label and toward the band, made the band ultimately responsible for whatever the producer got paid. And it didn't come out of the general proceeds of the record the way it would in an independent label's contract, for example. It came specifically out of the money that would otherwise have gone to the band. Like literally every dollar I would get paid would mean that was a dollar that Dave didn't get or Chris didn't get or Kurt didn't get. I mean, that's just the way that's the way the accounting works in those kinds of deals. And I think that's ethically untenable. I'll admit that I think less of people who opt to do things that way. I think it's on its face, it's absurd. Like I work on a record for a few days and then for the rest of your life, you have to keep paying me.
Unreal, right? His thought process.
Wow. I would have had a super different thought process. He is a good person.
I thought the same thing. I thought, you know what? There's no way I could be
that good of a person.
Yeah, because I would just be like, well, this is how it's done, so I'm taking my points, and I'm going to take, and sure, thanks, guys, I appreciate working with you. Instead, he left maybe, I'm guessing, $10 to $20 million, maybe more, on the table.
You would certainly think so.
I wouldn't leave $10 at a table. I gotta be honest.
I've seen Kenzie pick up $10 at a party on a coffee table.
Wait a minute. I'll turn back around if I realize I dropped $1. Let's retrace my steps in Chicago.
I mean, it shows just his mentality, which that's why bands wanted to work with him, and people, are still talking, outpouring on social media on Q101. You can see a lot of those links on Q101.com and our socials that just, what he did for bands in Nirvana, specifically changing the 90s and alternative rock. And Q101, for example, really. I mean, the bands we play.
I said it on Lauren's show yesterday because Lauren was nice enough to have me and Brian on for just a second, but Steve Albini produces the first Pixies record. That inspires Nirvana. with no Steve Albini, there's no Pixies, there's no Nirvana, there's probably no Q101. So if that's not a name that rings a bell to you, then that is the level of stakes we're playing with here, is he is the reason that we're all here to some degree.
Unreal. Way to put it, Case. Good job. And we're really sad. And thinking of his family, and his wife, and, everybody that worked with him, too, because they were his friends. And thinking of Steve Albini, 61 years old, a great Chicagoan, and the studio and everything he did for Chicago. Let's get to Gil Curtis with your headlines.
This is not headline news. Amazon is cutting back on drone deliveries. So now if you want something to fall on you from the sky, there's always Boeing or Morgan Wallen. California may ban self-checkout lanes. The move is supported by the National Association of Chatty Cashiers, also known as Trader Joe's. A study finds people are breathing in toxic chemicals in their cars. In the case of Tesla owners, it's because their car's on fire. And Billy Joel turned 75 today. He's made some of the most popular, soulful, impactful music of all time. And then he released a bunch of stuff in the 80s. This is not headline news.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.